We're here at the Grapevine in Clive, Iowa with Chad Elliott and Bonita Crowe. And obviously this is the Insider Sessions. And we've had Chad on before, and it was really a great session, and maybe a lot of you have seen it. So in this interview we're going to try to cover what's new with Chad since then. So Chad, what's new with you?
Oh, a lot's going on right now. I'm playing a lot more than most winters. Things usually slow down for me in the wintertime, but this year it really picked up, mostly due to this person right here, Bonita Crowe. She's been helping me book shows and as well as singing harmonies at the shows. And so the hosting here at Grapevine's kind of extended into, you know, full-blown booking for my stuff. And so we're going to be headed down to all over. We've been up in Minnesota and Wisconsin, and we'll be in Nebraska, and going down to Tennessee, and be playing at the Folk Alliance conference down there. It's an international conference for, it's kind of a folk genre, but it's really all across the board. There's blues artists, Americana artists, country artists that play there, and they're songwriters. And I got an official showcase there, so it'll be...
How does that come about? How do you get involved with a project like that?
Well, they have it open to members, so it's called Folk Alliance, and you can become a member and you can go be a part of this conference. It's really for artists to connect with each other. They're touring all over the world. There's festivals that you can do that in, as well as these conferences. And a lot of people go in there with guns blazing with their business hats on and trying to get gigs and stuff, and so that's why I'm bringing her, because I'm not very good at that. And so I'm going to go down there, and we're going to be playing this official showcase, which is really kind of difficult. I've been trying several times to get this showcase, and it's one of the best slots that you can play there. And so we're going to be sharing those songs, and then hopefully meeting a bunch of venues around the country to be able to tour nationwide. And then,
well, let me ask a quick question here. For people that don't know, what exactly is a showcase?
Showcase would be like a half-hour slot. Usually it's a half hour, and where you get to basically invite all these people. There are record labels there. There's talent scouts. There's agents, songwriters that are looking for songs to kind of choose a songwriter to do for their next album. But you can invite them to these showcases, and you can play your heart out for that half hour, and hopefully you can get a full room. Sometimes it's harder. You're playing a lot of unofficial showcases too, which are these hotel rooms in the top level of the Hilton down there in Memphis, and they take up 3 floors, and each room is kind of a showcase room, and they go all night long where you can play, you know, your unofficial showcases. But this would be on the main level in the lobby where you're playing an official showcase.
Yeah. So I know you've got, I know more than 10 albums.
Yeah.
How many do you have?
I've got a total, if you really count them all up, it's 18 albums.
Wow.
But there
what
are
an
10
amazing
of them.
body of work.
I'm hoping it's just one of those things where I'll just keep cranking out albums. But I look back on it as like a diary entry, you know, and so I'm really trying to keep going forward in the creating, and it always aspiring to find that next new song, and it's telling my story. And so
Yeah.
I look at it as, for my grandkids, looking back, well, this is his life. You can listen to all these albums, and so I've been doing it for about 15 years, but now, you know, that's pretty good, 18 and 15 years. So
that's amazing. So one of the reasons that I ask about that, and mention the fact that you've done quite a few albums, to say the least, more than most people that I can even think of, is one of the goals of doing a showcase to hopefully get the backing of a record label?
One of them is, that's not my main goal. My main goal is to keep working as an artist and hopefully getting gigs, you know, and getting a following so I can get around the country. A lot of these venues are specifically targeted for songwriters and folk venues, and so that's what I'm trying to get my foot into the doors of those people. If I were to come across a label that was, you know, a nice independent label that wants to support me as an artist, I'm totally game for that.
You would allow it?
Yeah, I'll totally take that if it fits right. You know, there's a lot of labels there that would fit right. I think I love, like, Rounder Records is there, Compass Records, Red House Records. They're some of my favorites, and they all go down there. And you know, they want to see a touring artist though, and I have to yet do that really good following. I need to have enough to where they can actually sell the records. So my next step isn't really getting on a label. It's getting more touring under my belt.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also working on a new album here in March that's with Chris Cunningham, who's he's on a Red House label with the group Story Hill, and so I'm going to be working with this album out in Montana, and so that's a big news thing. I've been waiting to do another studio album, so that's going to be, you know, coming in the next fall. It'll be released, but we'll be recording it in March.
Mm-hmm.
So
have you gotten confirmations yet about the labels that you're most interested in, if they'll be attending your showcase?
Well, not yet. I mean, I've played there before. I played unofficial showcases, and they were in those showcases for me, and they liked my stuff. But what I heard from a lot of the people associated with those labels says, yeah, we love your stuff. We want to see you touring, you know. So,
mm-hmm.
So that's what I plan on doing.
And by that, they probably mean coast to coast.
Yeah, because I play over 100 shows a year. It's a lot of shows, but they're mainly regional, and I think they want to see more of a broad-based fan base, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but as I said, if it goes that way, great. But was given a lot of advice by other well-respected artists. They said, you know, really independence, you know, doing your own releases, you get all the money yourself. Yeah. So it could go either way. If I get a good following and I'm selling a lot of records, then it's a win for me. I totally will keep doing that. But.
Mm-hmm. And I know being on the road, coast to coast, has got to be kind of a hard thing to do at times.
I've only done it a couple times, but yeah, it was hard for me playing to new audiences all the time. I knew when I moved back from California about 5 years ago that I needed to have a grassroots following in the Midwest so I could have a home base at least, and I wanted to work out from there. And you know, this last few months has started to really broaden the circle, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope to get, you know, all the way out to the East Coast, West Coast, and play more. But it was difficult when I was doing it before because I don't think I was planning it well, and it was pre-Facebook too. Facebook's been huge.
Wow.
So it was coming into a coffee house and playing for $15 and some bagels, and I would go out and sleep in my van that night. So yeah. That was difficult. So I think anything from there is probably up. So
sure. You can't. How many bagels would you charge them?
They would just give me the day.
A whole bag of bagels?
Yeah, a bag of bagels. Maybe a cup of cream cheese. No.
You got to make sure they give you some coffee to go with that.
Oh yeah, I lived off coffee there for about a year. Yeah. Coffee and bread, but.
Well, if you did that, would you be able to take your family with you, or would you be away from home?
You know, eventually I would love to be able to get to that. Right now it's just not possible, and so my wife is really supportive. We have a little baby girl that's 6 months old.
I know, she's the cutest thing in the world.
Isn't she? It's hard to drive away from her.
I've seen her on Facebook.
Yes, she's famous.
Yeah.
But I have a teenage son too, and he's really involved right now in school and activities, so I wouldn't want to pull anybody away from that, and financially it just works out better. They know, you know, if we do 2 weeks on in a full tour, it would be, you know, maybe 2 weeks off as well. So right now we're not at that stage right now. We're just kind of playing whenever we can get weekends and stuff, and so all the weekdays I'm spending with my kids and my wife, and so things are going pretty well right now.
Yeah. This is a perfect time to drag Bonita kicking and screaming into this interview. How much traveling are you willing to do, Bonita?
As much as it takes. I love it. It's
awesome.
Fun. Yeah, and my husband's just so extremely supportive, and he loves Chad, he loves Alyssa, you know, and of course he loves me, so it's fun. It's a good time.
Good. Okay. So I kind of interrupted you. You were talking about the things that are new with Chad Elliott and Bonita Crowe. Go ahead on.
Oh yeah, there's just a lot of things. She's been, you know, contacting a lot of the venues for us, and so it's neat to see the circles of friends that I once made, you know, years ago. They're finally starting to come to fruition at the Folk Alliance. You know, just being able to take her along and know that I can, you know, have somebody that organizes those things. I'm not the best at organizing it, so having somebody to be able to organize it, and her energy also bringing to the stage as well, and to these venues when we go and meet the actual venue owner, it's a huge asset for me to be able to bring her along. It's like my secret weapon for folk artists. We don't have too many of those. So. But no,
your little nuclear arsenal.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty much an acoustic guitar and an agent. But the harmonies are also adding a lot. I know when I'm playing in front of a crowd and they hear harmonies, there's something about harmonies that I think resonates in every human being. When they hear it, they automatically connect with that sound for some reason, and it's just neat to see that happening with Bonita, you know, because playing at the Grapevine and playing at her house concert series she was never in it for that. She was always in it to support artists, and so is Keith. Like they bring these local artists and support these local musicians, and then, you know, it's a side benefit that I found out. Hey, you can sing. You got to get up here and sing. And now we're actually taking it and sharing it with other venues and communities. It's really neat.
Yeah, I think it's great. The show you guys did at the Gas Lamp, where I recorded that, that was really my first time to hear you two together singing, and it was awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And that's still on the front page of Insider.
Yes, I appreciate
Insider Sessions. It's so good, I don't think I'll ever take it down.
I put it on my electronic press kit as well, and that's probably why I got a showcase.
All right, good. So what else?
Oh, you know, the album, and I just finished painting a mural, so I'm still getting my head wrapped around it. I did a mural up at a theater up in Spencer, Iowa, that I'm going to be playing a concert here next month. It's going to be, you know, with these two huge paintings that I did for that, and so I'm in paint land as well as the music, and so it's always a balancing act there.
Well, let me interject something here, because people watching this for the first time are going to be like, when we're talking about music and what's painting got to do with it, Chad Elliott is a really, really good artist.
Oh, thank you.
And you want to talk a little bit about your painting and your sculpture work and stuff you do?
Sure, yeah. I have a studio out in Coon Rapids, Iowa. It's a tiny little space, but it's where I can create, you know, paintings. I went to school for ceramics and sculpture, and so I do a lot of the sculpting and stuff for fun, and some pottery. But my paintings are really where I'm starting to incorporate the music with it, actually. I have a series called Art Song series, where they're based off my lyrics and based off songs. And so I'm hoping to exhibit those more often. I've done a few exhibitions of those in small galleries around Iowa. But I'm also working on eventually someday getting a book put together of these with the lyrics, the painting, and then having a CD with the songs on it, so you can have a full impact of what that's what I do. You know, when I'm writing songs in my journal, I'll have a little sketch with the painting idea in the journal, and it's usually scribbles, but I can see it finished already, and so that's half the time I'm just trying to put out what I've already created in my head, and just so these art song paintings, they come with most of the new songs I'm going to be doing, so I'm working on that.
Okay, we're excited for when it comes out.
Oh, thank you.
All right, our time has flown by. You know, we're up against 15 minutes with YouTube, and I want to get it all in. So, final thoughts.
Well, if you're interested in, you know, booking a show or anything like that, you can contact Bonita Crowe at a fine time for the number wine at AOL.com. You should also, if you're in Des Moines area, check out the Grapevine. They're a great venue for listening, and yeah, I just want to thank you all for listening, and thank you, Stan, for having us on here. It's wonderful.
Oh, it's completely my pleasure. I really love it. Okay, thanks so much for being on Insider Sessions.
Thank you.